Hey everybody, this is Mochrie. You've been hearing me along with Kai and Kyle Ferguson for about a month now on the Aeos Clubhouse, and I just wanted to make this video to say thank you. The response, the reception, the everything has been absolutely huge from all of the listeners of the podcast so far, as we're currently 4 episodes in, about to record our 5th one tomorrow, and I've been having a blast with it. Kai Berries is a lot of fun to work with. Kyle just knows what he's doing. He is running this podcast amazingly. I've been having a great time with it. And just to sort of supplement that, we've got the episodes coming out once a week. I wanted to go ahead and add in some match commentary. So that way, it's not just only the podcast episodes uploaded on here, but we're going to get some other content in there too. And I think Kai Berries even has some VODs already. So, without any further ado, let's just get right into it. I'm going to show you and go over an off-stream jungle Cinderace game. Let's get into it. Alright, let's get into this. So, starting out here, like I said, this is off-stream jungle Cinderace, so even if you follow me on Twitch, this is something you haven't seen. And this was a pretty fun game right here. I feel like there's a lot to talk about. And so actually right at the start, there's something I want to point out, and it's that notice that the Lillipup right here went down. As soon as I aggroed it, it started running down, and this drove me crazy at first because I couldn't quite figure it out. I was like, sometimes the sometimes the Lillipup at the start of the game goes down, sometimes it goes up. Is there any kind of consistency so that I can always go the right direction as soon as I start hitting it? The answer is yes, there actually is some consistency to it. The Lillipup will always run toward the Ludicolo, every single time. And so then it's like, oh, okay, so Ludicolo and Bouffalant, the 2 buff camps, are not always in the same place? And, well, no, but you can't always know where they're gonna spawn. So you can see right here, there's a lot of sand in my jungle where I'm starting out. That meant that the Ludicolo was always going to be down. Whereas when you start on the grassy side of the map, the Ludicolo is always going to be up. And because the Lillipup always runs towards the Ludicolo, you immediately know by looking at where you start where the Lillipup's gonna run to. And so I found that kind of helpful, it actually sort of decodes the mystery a little bit for me, and I get to see what's going on here. And we can see here, there's one thing I want to point out as we go through this game. So right here, I'm getting my jungle in, and notice I left my camp, and here I'm getting back here, I'm getting ready for my Ludicolo to spawn. The buff camps, you want to take them as often as possible. They're a lot of XP, and the buffs are very impactful. But also the buff camps are on a 1-minute timer. And the buffs that you get from said buff camps last 70 seconds, so 10 seconds more than 1 minute. And what that means is that even if you're not specifically tracking the cooldowns of these camps, you can actually come back to the camps pretty consistently by watching those buff timers in the bottom right corner. Whenever one of your buff timers gets to just about most of the way through, and when it reaches that top left corner of the square, that's about when your buff is going to respawn. So as long as you keep a good eye on that, that can actually be a really, really easy way to stay on top of things and know, okay, I've had my fun in the lanes, I've done my ganks, but now it's time to go back in. So here we see me, I'm just trying to maximize as much farm as I can, and then while my jungle is dead, notice while my jungle is all cleared out, that's when I'm looking to pressure with these ganks. And if I can get a turn-in off, that's especially good right here. I tried to finish off the Ralts, wasn't quite able to get it. However, I did push Ralts out enough to secure the turn-in right here. Gonna be just enough. There we go. I believe you can even see maybe an X scissor. I'm not sure if Crustle has it by level 5. Regardless, right there I tried to get a turn in and I got a takedown because both of those things give you experience. And one of the biggest things you can do, and actually, oh man, I remember this happening, yeah. So the Greninja actually gets the triple kill right there, and he gets what I was just about to say, he gets a crucial level 9 before this first Dreadnought. And that is a huge, huge, huge thing if you can manage to do it as the jungler, because getting that Dreadnought, or getting that level 9 before Dreadnought, means that you can bring your ult to the party. And if you have ult and the other jungler doesn't, and in fact no one else will have ult if you're the only person that has ult, because the junglers are always over-leveled compared to everyone else, and you can see Greninja used his ult there. If you have ult ahead of the enemy team right at that 7-minute mark for the Dreadnought fight, that often means a guaranteed Dreadnought. And you can see after I use my ult, I'm able to run down the enemy Greninja, and this plays a large part in us securing this Dreadnought. And so here, we've got the Dreadnought, they're trying to step up to it, but they're not really able to pressure it out, and at this point it's pretty trivial to clean it up, especially with the fact that we've got that post-Dreadnought shield. and that post-Dreadnought XP lead. You look at everybody on my team, we've got one level 7, a bunch of 8s, a bunch of 9s, I'm 10, and that guy we were hitting I think was level 6. So already we're starting to see some big XP leads right there. And at this point my jungle is all back up. I would really love to go farm it. Everything but my Ludicolo is back up, and it's going to be back up in a couple seconds, but I know that my team needs to farm Rotom. So I'm going from that Dreadnought play, and then I'm going to go up to Rotom. Once Rotom is decided, and the enemy team just took it right there, once Rotom is decided one way or the other and the fighting up here is done, then I'm going to go back to my jungle, and again I'm just trying to clear it as much as possible. The jungle is experience, the jungle is ultimate charge, and getting those two things is how you secure boss fights. You want to be a higher level than them, and you want to be able to ult the enemy team a lot. So in this game, and really just what I've come to learn as a jungler, and that's my main role, is that it's all about the jungle farm. You know, you just want to get in there, clear the camps as much as possible. That's how you're going to get your ult charge, and that's actually going to lead to a sort of schism between me and my teammates later in the team, and I'll point out when that happens. But now, with not really anything on the map that's going to force me to participate in any fights, you know, there's no tier 1s anywhere, so I can't go dump any points, there's no Dreadnought, there's no Rotom. At this point, it's all about the farming. I think at this point I'm looking for the Rotom, the Ralts gank. Yeah, so we saw an overextended Ralts, we're going to go ahead and pick up that kill at a knockout. Sorry, I know this is Pokemon. No one dies in Pokemon. Then we're going to go over here and take out this crab, and at this point I am just thinking about farm. And I noticed that there's a Dreadnought about to spawn in about 10 seconds. I don't have enough time to do both buffs, but I can go ahead and do Ludicolo. And I think in these scenarios, when the Dreadnought is going to come up soon, it's actually pretty reasonable for a laner to come in and take the other buff. So that way, you know, you take both buffs before the boss spawns, but that's kind of a coordinated play. And I wasn't in comms with anybody besides Omega, that was my Eldegoss right here. So here I'm just staying really far back. I'm not really getting baited into using my feint for DPS like I tend to do before. I'm staying all the way at the edge, and then I'm going to ult that Greninja right off of us, and hey, they get the Dreadnought, but it doesn't really matter if we wipe them at the end of the day. Oh yeah, and right there, I totally forgot, Gardevoir just completely nukes me. I actually kind of rage check my, my damage dealt, death, takedown, whatever it's called. This little screen where you can see everything that happened to you, I was like, what the hell killed me right there? And so right there, I go ahead, I take a look, I see the stats, and I'm like, okay, yeah, Gardevoir deals a lot of damage. I should have known. That was a dumb move of mine. And again, there I've got some buffs ready to go. But for a second, I just go ahead and I farm the Audinos, and I think this was a bit of a mistake. I think that I probably should have just been at this Rotom fight instead of farming these Audinos, especially going back for that one that I just barely missed. My teammates need me here. Not a big fan of this play for myself. However, my teammates do successfully get the Rotom, and at this point, I now think that farming is correct. Pushing with the Rotom is a major way to throw games, especially games where you're already ahead. We're already in control of this game, we've got experience leads. At this point, I just want to make sure that my ultimate is ready for Zapdos and that I have as much experience as possible for Zapdos. And pushing with that Rotom is a major way to throw, and you can see my teammates there off there getting knocked out. I have no interest in it. There's actually a surrender vote that happens right here. But it's well before Zapdos, and we're still ahead of them on points. It's kind of a silly surrender vote. Definitely not going to pass. And so here, I'm still just farming away, happy as a clam. I'm trying to get that coveted level 15. I'm even starting to get spam pinged by my teammates a bit. Well, they want me to come join the fights, and I'm like, alright, fine. Now that I'm almost out of jungle, okay, fine, I guess I'll rotate in. So I'm here, I'm helping just run these guys down, and this is one thing that Cinderace really excels at. When you gank someone who is out of position, you are so good at running them down in that lane with all of your forward mobility that you've got with feint, you've got it with blazing kick, it's really good. And so now at this point we're ahead, we can see we're in the lead, but not by a huge amount based on that message. I don't remember exactly how much just the generic "we're in the lead" means. But we know we're in a situation where the enemy team either has to force a backdoor or force Zapdos, so as long as we control the angles, we're good. And here, at this point, we're just controlling the Zapdos pit, getting some damage on the enemy team. Huge solar beam from my Venusaur, and we're good. We take a few of them out, and I start hitting Zapdos, and I actually start to notice, oh, there's a Cinderace over there, and it was very bad of me to hit that Zapdos instead of just confirming the Cinderace, then finishing it off. But at this point, now we've got the Zapdos down, we're getting ready to go in, and the enemy team surrenders. Overall, I think this was a really solid game, a lot of good stuff to look at. Remember, the Lillipup always runs towards the Ludicolo, and you want to try and farm your jungle as much as possible. I'm talking you want to be at the buffs at spawn, which is pretty easy to do once you use that trick that we talked about with looking at your buff timers, and remembering that your buffs respawn every minute. If you are on the ball, you can realistically have level 9 at Dreadnought, and that is huge. And that's the end of the replay, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I know I talked a lot, but I had a good time. Alright, that's actually the end of it right now. Total black screen. Thank you very much so far, friends. More of these to come soon. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and I'll see you soon.